Thank you. Please be seated. Prefect joke of the day is, what do you call a snake that's 3.14 meters long? A python.
Thank you, Jojo. Be careful with this thing, it's dangerous. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with the Strathcona Lodge House hymn. Be Thou My Vision, hymn number 10. Please stand. Thank you all. Please be seated. Good morning. One of the nice things about living in such a diverse, multicultural community is there's always something to celebrate. And we're coming up to a big celebration. But I'm going to let Jenny Zhu come and tell us about it. Jenny.
Good morning, my name is Jenny. Did you know that next week, China will fall into a trap predicted by gloomy economists? Factories will shut down, shops will close, rich people will lock their companies and run away. Local people will hoard food. Signs will appear on the doors of homes. The streets will reek of gunpowder from explosives. Adults will drink too much and gamble all day. Swarms of children will beg for money. We, as Chinese people, call this phenomenon the Chinese New Year. So, clearly, that is not what really happens. That was just made up by some completely random people online, which of course went viral. What really happens is that everyone will return to their parents' house for a family reunion. Siblings will each take turns cooking for the whole family. As this goes on, they will usually play card games and chat about their lives. Children will visit all their extended family members' homes to give them their best wishes. The adults will always give out lucky money in traditional red envelopes to children. Always my favorite part. Finally, people will watch fireworks together at night in celebration of the New Year. Chinese New Year, a festival with a 4,000-year history, varies in date every single year. 过年 is the general phrase for Chinese New Year. It means to celebrate a new year or to overcome 年. Speaking of 年, I think of my favorite legend about this holiday. Long, long ago, a monster called 年, with a frightening face, was a nightmare for everyone. The reason why 年 terrified people was that it hid deeply in the ocean all year round and only came out on the New Year's Eve to eat people and livestock. To avoid the monster, villagers fled to isolated mountain tops until one day an old man emerged from nowhere. The old man put red papers on the front doors of homes, burned bamboo, lit candles, and wore red clothes. Why did he do this? Nobody knew. However, after this, Nian no longer came, because from that point forward, everyone realized that the monster was afraid of red decorations and loud noises. So they followed the old man's actions and did the same every year. Nowadays, with the development of the society and technology, red papers have become spring festival couplets and red paper cards, and burning bamboo has changed to fireworks. What does a rat, a pig, a monkey, and a dragon have in common? Chinese New Year! China has 12 zodiac years and 12 animals represent each year. Those are the rat, ox, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. In China, some people even believe that your zodiac year will decide your future career, relationship, health, and even success. Ironically, one may think that once it is your year, it may be good luck. But not in China. In China, your zodiac year means bad luck. Like the story my mom always tells about her colleague. Her colleague broke up with a girl he had been dating for quite a few years. And after that, every time he broke up with a girl, my mom always told him, look what you did in your zodiac year. What if you were extra careful that year? So, to defend themselves against bad luck, people will typically furnish their rooms with red decorations and wear red clothing, especially red underwear. I don't know why. This year, 2019, is the year of pig. If you were born in 2019, 2007, 1995, 1983, 1971, 1959, 1947, 1935, or even 1923, anyone here 96? Rev? Well, if you were born in one of those years, feel free to buy red pig toys or red underwear for a better year. Another reason why Chinese New Year is always my favorite festival is the lucky money, obviously. The elderly always give out lucky money called 压岁钱 to children in the family. Originally, they placed a red envelope under a child's pillow to avoid the demon Sui from attacking kids when they were asleep. Now, 压岁钱 is used in a way to express fortune and their best wishes for children growing up. Every Chinese person tries their best to get back to China for this celebration. That's why Chinese New Year causes the largest human migration in the world. Every year, more than 200 million transit tickets are sold during the holiday season. Families get together and clean rooms, which symbolizes the banishing of bad luck. Families always pin the red paper cards with the word luck upside down in China. By pinning it this way, it symbolizes that the family will have good luck. I am almost finished my speech. I understand people often get really bored, but just so you know, one more minute until I'm done. Finally, people often eat dumplings, spring rolls, congis, and special dessert during the holiday. Every single dessert has a special meaning, such as reunion, success, good fortune, and so on. Families get together and have a grand dinner, exchange gifts on the New Year's Eve. After the meal, everyone sits together and watches the annual Spring Festival Gala broadcasted on the national TV channel. And every year, we make complaints about how the gala is getting worse and worse every year, while still watching it every year. Chinese New Year officially ends at the Lanterns Festival, which is 15 days after the New Year. Well, if you bump into any Chinese students next Tuesday, which is February the 5th, please wish them a Happy New Year. Or, if we are feeling really brave, you could say, 新年快乐. It will mean a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. That I almost feel like we should put that on the web or something. Yeah, it was so good. There's so much in there. Did you notice the headmaster has a red tie this morning? He always has a good instinct for these things. Thank you so much. That was so great. So I'm just a few comments from me, and I was thinking about what Jenny was going to talk about. Do you have like New Year's resolutions in China? Do you do that, or is that's a Western thing maybe? I was thinking about New Year's resolutions. You know, a lot of people, the resolution that they make is to declutter and to simplify their lives. Have you heard about this? This is a big thing right now. I read a headline the other day that said, Netflix new show is creating decluttering craze. Do you know the show? I think it's called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo. Anybody decluttering? No, a few of you, yeah. Some of the older ones, I think. So I recently I see this everywhere. I saw a book displayed at the public library. It says, does this clutter make my butt look fat? Really, seriously. So more and more we're seeing this issues around decluttering. We see it everywhere. There's workshops, there's books, and obviously it's a trend, but even so, I think it can be a worthwhile trend, certainly something worth thinking about. So many of you are going to say, well, I'm not old enough to have accumulated very much clutter. So I don't really think about it very much. But I think that decluttering isn't just about getting rid of stuff. Decluttering really is a way of life. It's an attitude. So there's all kinds of clutter, right, in our lives. There's clutter in our diet, all the things that we eat that don't provide nutrition, the things that we eat for entertainment or comfort or convenience. Clutter. There's emotional clutter. The worries and fears we have about things we can't do anything about. The worries whether people like us or don't like us, whether our ears are too big or too small. Sometimes we feel anxious and we don't even know why. Clutter. Our conversations are obviously full of clutter. Many of us will talk at great length when we have absolutely nothing to say. I'm one of them. Or we use this miraculous gift of speech that we have to do things that aren't so nice, to put people down or undermine people, to gossip in a way that brings negative repute on others. All of it, clutter. So think of the clutter in our free time. I know what you're saying. What free time? But we all actually have free time, and if you're like me, it's very easy to clutter up that time with television or computer games. Clutter. So most of all, our minds are full of clutter. Negative thoughts, judgments of other people, judgments of ourselves, thoughts of self-importance, or thoughts of worthlessness. All these thoughts are not really reflective of anything real. They're just clutter. So you might say, well, what's wrong with a little clutter? And it really isn't a matter of right or wrong. There isn't anything really wrong with clutter as such, but the fact is that the less clutter there is in our lives, the freer we will be. And I'm not alone in thinking this. Albert Einstein was asked once if he had any rules for life, and this is what he responded in his own words. He said, out of clutter, find simplicity. So how do we declutter? First, we must recognize what clutter is and what it isn't, how we define it. Some say clutter is whatever stands in our way of seeing the world as it really is. Other people say that clutter is anything that fails to enrich or inspire us. I think Marie Kondo says that clutter is anything that doesn't bring us joy. So your definition of clutter will depend to a large extent on what you want your life to look like. The other thing we can do to declutter is to be motivated by an understanding that decluttering isn't about what we get rid of, but it's about what we gain. So simplifying and uncluttering helps us to be clear about our priorities, about what is most important for us. It allows us to see the world more clearly. So much of the clutter we hold on to, I think, is just, they're just things to protect us from the world. They're kind of buffers, I think. And finally, decluttering allows us space to be our most creative selves. So think of the artist studio. It's hard to think of any kind of situation that's more messy, and yet at the center of every artist studio, there's at least a few white blank canvases ready to be painted on. Kind of there calling forth the creative ability of the artist. And if every canvas was already painted, of course, there wouldn't be any motivation to paint. So the next time you feel bored or restless, I don't know if you ever feel that way, think of that feeling not as something to escape through distractions, but maybe it's an opportunity. Maybe it's a little space in which to express yourself creatively. Resist the urge to turn to some quick electronic stimulation, which again just clutters up the space with noise. So rather than seeing open, unscheduled, uncluttered moments as boring or as frightening or just as nothing, what if we saw such moments as spaces that call forth our creative spirit, in which we can try new things or practice doing the things that we really most enjoy? What if we saw those little moments as blank canvases on which to make our mark if we chose to do so? So there are some ideas about uncluttering. And we're going to end with the Renfrew hymn, hymn number 9, Joyful, Joyful. Please stand. Thank you, Ms. Daniel. Thank you, Jenny, again, for that wonderful talk this morning. Everyone, have a great day.